All right. Welcome, guys. Another topic that my stream always talks about is how far you should push before the BRELSHAZA update. There are many, many different answers to that, but after looking into it, because I didn't quite remember what I did at the past, so I looked into it again for you guys and give you like more of a personal opinion, how far you should push, plus like where should you park, etc. And then if you park, what kind of advantage, disadvantage you have, etc. Right? So it's a very simple topic. I'm pretty sure some of you guys who are listening to this video right now already know where to park. But I can also show you the progress of how the pushing is going to be when you guys receive the update. So without talking too much about it, let's get right to it, okay? What's so special about 1490? Some of you guys know already, with mentioned on live streams and stuff, is you get new Chaos Dungeon, 1490. You get the new Guardian Raid, Carligos. And then you get the new Legion Raid, BRELSHAZA. And new tier reward for Una Quest. And then you have the new tier upgrade materials. So we got like the new Destruction, new Guardian, and the new Leap Stones. We call that the Fat Leap Stone. Also, the bracelet video, as I said in the past, there are bracelets to add additional attributes. There's a separate video for this, so you can check that out if you guys want to later. So 1490 in summary afterwards is when you expect a huge jump towards progression. As in like your character gets really strong. And then you get to have new gears to a point that you get that power spike. So you can finish the earlier Legion raids much easier. Oh, which also did not mention is you have a new fusion material too. That you can receive during the BRELSHAZA raid. Now, Chaos Dungeon and Guardian raid here. I want to talk about this topic. So, I have a 1490 blade here. Could be like a test-wise. You can go to the first level of the yellow series of the Chaos Dungeon, because I believe NA only has a 3 purples. This series, it adds a few more stuff. For example, it drops the new tier of Boss Rush and Cube hard, and it also drops bracelets. Those are the big things. And then you get the latest materials over here. And for the cube tickets, I haven't mentioned it, but that should be on this category as well, like new cubes. New cubes and new boss rushes. And obviously, these boss rush tickets provide you the new next tier leap stone, and there's the collectibles regarding to that content as well. And the new guardian over here, Carligos, right? This is what you guys have, and this will be emptied out. This guy's 1540, so he's coming out much later. I'll talk more about Carl a little later, but it's at 1490. You get bracelets in the same category and stuff. What about Gilrune rune, right? It's by tier, so you're not gonna get a new Gilrune rune until the other particular 1580 guardian called Sonabel. That's when you get the new additional legendary Gilrune rune, because it's a different tier level. This is still tier 6. You are still in like a tier 6 level of guardian raid until Hanumatan, which is 1540. Now this topic is important because Lost Boy tested out the rewards for it too. And there's only a couple data points, but these are the stuff that Lost Boy recorded. And these are the rewards that you can get. These are the rewards you get for 1520, and with the comparison of 1475 rewards and stuff. So long story short, Chaos Dungeon Guardian Raid summary, 1490 versus 1475 dailies is new materials is 5-to-1 ratio anyways, right? So the value itself of that material by default should have 5 times more value, right? And then you have double the shard gains and less leap stones, but again higher value, because the 5 of them you trade for the bound ones, and the ones that you sell, they're obviously going to be at least twice or 3 times higher. But in the beginning, when they just switch, it's going to lack so much materials to a point that it's going to be very, very, very expensive. A good point of view is if I go to, the Korean market right now, the big fat ones, this is 82 gold. But in the beginning, after the patch hit, this was like 140, 160, even 180, even went up to 180, because everyone's trying to hone. Nowadays, it's going down and down and down and down, is because more people are getting it and less people are honing. This is why these two stones are very stationary. This is the lower tier one, and this is the ones that you guys are using right now. It's only 6 gold difference. It's because the supply is like run out, right? I mean, supply is like more infinite than like before. So these fat stones, it's 53 gold right now, but this also used to be very, very expensive when this came out initially. This was like 120 before. This was 110, but even higher. But the highest one I've seen was like 140. So it went down like 3 times right now because a lot more characters are at this phase. So putting that into consideration, 1490 versus 1475, 1490 it's infinitely better in terms of getting materials because it's new stuff. And in the beginning, new stuff tends to be more expensive. For new Guardians, more difficult in the future upcoming Guardians. So because it's Carligos, Hanamatan, and then Sonavel. Carligos happened to be, to me, honestly, I think it's the hardest one of the three so far. I don't understand why, but that's how it works. And it has heavy battle item usage, and it's still about 3 times 4 times value in materials, and has low but has drop rate for bracelets. So until 1540, you're going to be fighting this guy for a very long time. And a side note is 1490, 1500, 1520 are like the breakpoints for BRELSHAZA Legion Raid and Chaos Dungeon. For example, after 1490, the next dungeon that you guys will play is 1520. So it's actually pretty high. There's no breakpoint between 1500. Getting 1500 will only yield you into be able to challenge BRELSHAZA 3-4. So let's talk about BRELSHAZA Legion Raid a little bit in detail, right? The first clear, you get 30 horns, and you get these 20 new tokens and then Chaos Stones, right? These horns work a little bit different than bones or wings from Valten and Vicus. You need more of these to make a new item, and you need 40 of them for armor, and then you need 100 for weapon. So you can kind of do the math because you get 7 each gate, except gate 5, 6 is 8, so 16. And you get to have an auction box, which is like 5, 5, 5. So the total amount of horns that you can actually get if you finish from 1 to 6 is 44 plus 15, so 59 bones. So if you do that 2 weeks, you can technically make a weapon, right? And then you also get these tokens. You guys know the clown tokens, right? BRELSHAZA also has those tokens. And then you get one at 120 here in gate 1, 2, and then 130 of them at gate 3, 4. Now let's go over some honing materials too. So gate 1, 2 is including box Oni, is new destruction crystals, 360 of them, and 720 guardian, 20 leap stones, 6,000 shards, and 120 BRELSHAZA tokens, right? And then you can kind of see the other ones too, like 480, 960, 20, and 6,000, 130, and 840, 1680, and then 20 and 8,200 shards. As for gold, it was already written up here that you make about 8,500 if you beat the whole thing, and you use about 4,500 gold for the extra loot. Oh, so 3, 4, and 5, 6, by doing all of them, it feels like you don't get a significantly more, right? It's about the same for 3, 4, and as for gold, you only get 1,500 gold by finishing 3, 4. So this is like one of the weaker ones, like the weaker gates. As later on, what I'm going to say is it is not too efficient to push straight to 1,500, because getting from 1490 to 1,500 should be a lot harder than you think, because the percentage of honing is much lower. We're going to talk about a summary in a bit, but 1490 itself is a really good place to park, right? I'm going to talk about it in the summary again, because the next topic we're going to talk about is going over the honing rates and the item level that is corresponding to it. For example, like I said before, getting to 1520 or 1510 is really hard, because from 1490 it's 3% chance, 1505 is 3% chance, and from 1520 to get to plus 22 is a 1% chance, right? People who are 1520 right now, they've been working on this 1% for a while. And imagine how expensive it is, because the materials in NA is still pretty rough, right? So if you guys are wondering about how far should you push your main even to see if you can progress through the content, is a good thing to know is, you just upgrade it naturally, because you want to save the gold and then invest on something else that is more worth it, something like gems, right? You can spend on something, or you can just hoard it when the next update comes out so you can take advantage of it. Because getting to 1490 shouldn't be that much difficult, because you guys still have like a month in time. To go to an example, I have a perfect character right here, because I finished BRELSHAZA gate 1, 2 this week. So if I actually dismantle this real quick, I get the bones back, but I don't get the Chaos Stone back, so I need to buy one more for demo's sake, right? If I go to the NPC, I can make any of the armors here. I can make the weapon at 100. So if you make this particular glove, and then you take it to the place, and if you transfer it over, this is the transfer, right? So this is exactly the same situation that you guys are going to have, because my character is 1490, right? And then it have just beat BRELSHAZA 1, 2, and have the materials to craft it. So if you transfer it here, it will cost you 240k silver only. It doesn't cost you gold. But if I transfer over, your item level becomes 1510 on the new item. So if I transfer by paying just silver, I get free eye levels without honing at all. Does this make sense so far? So if I equip the new glove, I'm 1493.33 by not doing any hones. This is why BRELSHAZA gear is super important. So let's continue talking about this. So yeah, and then you will use your new materials to hone. These are the new materials, right? As you can see here. And what's really cool about this is you're at 1510, and then you get a 10% chance to hone it to 1520. So essentially, if you just keep running BRELSHAZA 1-2 or 1-4 every week and keep getting BRELSHAZA gear, you will reach 5-6 without much of an honing experience. And it's 10%. It's actually really high for a 10%. All right. So I'm just gonna get it up real quick to show you guys that
it's actually really high for a 10%. So I'm just gonna get it up real quick.
Oh, there you go. Use the last one. So if you get, if you +2 this particular gear, what happens is you will reach 1496 already, right? So technically you can get 1500 very easily with just one item. I can +1 again, so it'll be 1540. And when that happens, I'm gonna be 1499.9. But from 1540-ish, it's gonna be pretty rough on the honing. But the point I wanted to show out was if you do level it up, you get free item levels. And then you can just use your free coupons too. Because saving the old coupons is actually a pretty good idea instead of trying to putting the old gear into 1520, because that's going to be much harder in terms of percentage and the requirements that you actually need to take. But if you guys are already like +24, +25, etc., you get compensated for it, right? So if you have 1550, you get to be 1560. If you're 1575, you get to be 1580 when you transfer. So with that long chat, let's talk about the summary real quick. If you're under 1490 and close, you have to push to 1490, because even if you don't go to BRELSHAZA, the dailies will bring you huge income in the early point in the patch. So for example, if you have an alt, but the engraving is bad, so you think like, oh, am I going to go to BRELSHAZA? I don't think I'm going to go to BRELSHAZA, so I'm not going to push this particular character. But if it's like one of your 6 mains that it earns the gold, it is not bad to have many characters parked at 1490, because the new Chaos Dungeon, you run it, you sell those mats right away. They'll sell like pancakes, and it will be very, very, very expensive because the whales will want to hone, right? The whales will want to hone the new gear. Make sure you hold it a little bit, because the whales will need to clear BRELSHAZA first, okay? Instead of selling it, because people will be like, oh, is it this much? Is it that much, right? You got to know, you got to kind of test the waters out to see how much the actual material is going to be. And if you happen to be BRELSHAZA though, you get to get a free 1510 item by just switching the gear, by paying only 1000 gold plus 240k silver. Parking at 1490 was been very popular, or pushing to 1490 was very popular if it's one of your main, because 1490 is when you get to get free item upgrade, free item level boost by just running the content instead of trying to spend money or spend the gold to hone. Which it goes to the second point. Going to 1500 without BRELSHAZA gear is crazy. And for some of you guys who are already experiencing it will probably know, right? Because the percentage is very low and it's insane amount of materials that will... Unless you want to clear 1 to 6, you don't really have an advantage for going gate 3 and 4. Why? Because gate 3 and 4 rewards are very small for just 14 additional horns. Unless you want to do it, right? Going to 1500 is not efficient. If you're playing it very slow, you want to gold, or let's say you're like F2P, right? You don't want to spend a dime on this game, or you don't have much of you don't have much gold. You try to get to 1490, and then you just park there. You just keep selling, and progress a little slower. The legion rate is not going anywhere, so playing slow is actually beneficial. If you just get rid of some of the FOMO, you can actually enjoy the game even more, and safer too. Third point, if you can clear gate 5-6, the 1520 eye level has an advantage too. But if you cannot clear 5-6, there's no advantage due to materials not being the same about 1490 item level dailies. For example, if I explain this a little bit to you guys again, running the 1520 Chaos Dungeon, has not much of a big difference versus the 1490. I don't know why, but based on the detailed chart, 1520 eye level chaos and 1490 eye level chaos has not much of a big difference. Some are actually even lower because it's RNG. And same for leaf stones as well. Like, you don't get that much of a gain by running the next level chaos dungeon. The chaos dungeon rewards has a huge jump by category. So in my opinion, regardless what your goal is, parking at 1490 is the best, right? And whether you want to decide to push to 1500 plus for BRELSHAZA 1 to 6 clear very easily, versus, you know, I'm gonna play it slow but I want to make a lot of income, then you make multiple 1490 characters. With that being said, this concludes the quick video, guys.